Hi, I'm Darren Coffey with the Berkeley Group, a consulting firm with local government experts dedicated to serving localities. Thanks for joining us in our Change in Local Government series. We're going to kick it off by talking about the nature of staffing. Traditionally, you would work for a government agency and make pretty decent money, get excellent health benefits and a retirement package, and after 30 years, you'd retire. Those days are all but over, but governments are still hiring staff like they always have. Just fewer positions, lower pay, declining health benefits, and questionable retirement. The result of continuing to approach staffing without recognizing the changed economy is less experience, higher turnover rates, and reduced productivity both in terms of quality and quantity. When workloads increase, it's difficult to decide to hire a full-time position or even a part-time position, particularly if benefits are involved in that decision-making process. As a result, many agencies are making do with less staff than they actually need. An alternative staffing model is to partner with experienced professionals in a demand-based approach. Instead of hiring a full-time position with benefits, hire contract staff for the level of service that fits your demand, whether it's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, or even off-site support for special projects. Contract staff can supplement existing staff or be used as an alternative to full-time positions if that's the level of service that's needed. The key to successfully utilizing the auxiliary staff model is in identifying the appropriate level of service needed at the available funding level. One way to approach this could be to use the residual salary from a vacant or frozen position to hire contract staff for special projects or to address peak workload demands. That funding level could be a not-to-exceed service level and no overhead costs are incurred. It's important to note that this model only works for localities or agencies that do not need full-time staff and have limited fiscal resources. It can supplant or supplement, but only in increments of time. For example, if 4.5 days of work are needed, then it might make more sense to find the resources to fund a full-time position. Still, hiring an experienced professional staff with a stable, effective track record to work on special assignments or peak loads can benefit any locality. Staff turnover, particularly in small and rural localities and in entry-level positions in larger agencies, has always been a challenge. Constrained budgets and outdated salary ranges continue to exacerbate the problem. Staff is hired, gets trained, and then is off to greener pastures for better salaried positions. In the auxiliary staffing model, you hire contract staff that is reliable, experienced, and stable. As with the turnover issue, lower salaries do not typically attract good experience. Entry-level staff learns on the job, gets trained, and tends to move on. In an auxiliary staff model, you're hiring experienced professionals with backup support. You're hiring a company with a comprehensive skill set as opposed to an individual with limited expertise. Professional, stable experience at the funding level available provides staff that is effective and enduring. So in looking at what some of the pros and cons are of using the auxiliary model as opposed to the traditional model, we see that some pros are you'll get experienced professional staffing, position stability, an expanded skill set, and maximum productivity for the identified service level. It's a budget and demand sensitive model. On the downside, contract staff is not a familiar model to most localities. There could be a perceived lack of control from the management to the contract staff. The service levels of a locality, if they approach full-time levels, it may make less sense to do the auxiliary model. There can be a reluctance to try a different approach among localities. And some localities are just unwilling or unable to fund additional staff at any level, regardless of the need for it. So to conclude our staffing segment, traditional staffing is not a sustainable model for many localities, particularly those with low or variable workloads, inadequate salaries, higher turnover, and limited experience levels. Contract staffing is one way public services can be maintained or expanded within budgetary constraints. It's a model that can be adapted for any locality at some level for interim, peak demand, or part-time services. Only those localities with higher salaries, low turnover rates, and highly experienced professional staff would find the contract staff model difficult to incorporate. Now, how many of those localities are you aware of? Thank you for joining us in our Nature of Staffing segment, which kicks off our Change in Local Government series. How can we help you navigate these changing times? Please feel free to call Drew or myself at your convenience at 540-560-2202 or find us online at www.theberkeleygroupllc.com. Thank you and have a great day.